2 episodes worth. So let's get cracking. Means I'm probably gonna go to sleep around 1:32. Totally fine. So, let's see here. Not new, restore. I'm gonna go with our 4 unlocked, and it's basically gonna be me reading to you guys. Let's see what she has to say for now. If you look at your interface once you open the document, click on the little button to show you wherever it is. Whatever it is. So which subject do you wish to know about? Oh, whoa, sorry, you've heard that all already, right? I think I just repeated myself there. Sorry, I kind of tend to do that. That's the problem with computers. They tend to respond in the same way to things. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't help it. I won't mention it again, but here, let me change something to try and make things less confusing for you. If the Speak to Me menu item or the Show Message button is grayed out, that means I have nothing new for you. Hopefully that will help. Otherwise, it's just a weird quirk that I have to accept. Sorry. So, she'll say nothing new. Your log documents. And I did say we were going to start on some new stuff, so I believe we said we were going to go with Hyun-ae. Yes. No? Well, first off, yeah, let's go with 9. Yeah. Okay, so the new year, 10, October 30th, year 316. Kim Young-suk, when he died this year, my father was an absolute nobody. I don't say this to disrespect his honor. It's the complete opposite. He knew it, and that was a far worse fate than he ever deserved. It wasn't until I was maybe 16 that I even realized we were supposed to be from a noble family. Certainly, we never had much of means. Father was a minor official in the interior decks, and spent his last days dealing with minor peasant disputes. Of all things, peasant disputes. With the poverty we lived in, no wonder we never really sank in that we were of noble blood. Not until I met the main family for the first time. Speaking of which, there were a lot of quote-unquote noble families, yangban as they're called, in which the Korean nobility were really, really poor, sometimes even poorer than the quote-unquote peasants, aka, I forget the terminology for the lower class, aka the peasants, but there is a terminology for both the upper class nobility and the lower class, and then below the lower class is slaves. I think it's servants and then slaves. Anyway, so yes, there are actual noble families that were really, really poor, and this was partly due to like just how much land you owned and whatnot. If a peasant family had a bunch of land, then he gets a little bit more crops, gets a little bit more sell, therefore he's richer than a noble family. But it essentially boils down to, okay, you're a noble family, so what? I'm richer, I'm more comfortable than you are. Who cares? So let's see what she has to say. Well, I suppose I can give you more about Young-suk. I don't know, I don't think you'll really find him very interesting. But here, you can see for yourself. So she's gonna give us more, but anyway, so they were proud despite the fact that I now realize that they too were suffering from our same lack of royal favor. But I could tell the difference. They hadn't given up. Their son was still alive at the time, and even though he was a child half my age, I couldn't believe his confidence. It put us to shame. Absolutely put us to shame. But their son died later that year, and my father died just a few months ago. I didn't know what we were going to do, but Mother managed to convince sister's husband to adopt me into the main Kim family. I don't think it took much. So now I'm an heir. Just like that. Kim Jong-soo's adopted son. Not that I have the time or position to be proud, but having spoken sincerely with my new father, I think we're on the same page. I'm going to study furiously, and I'm going to become a scholar official. Which, little tangent here, little info of sorts or whatever. The scholars were definitely, all of the Yangban, aka nobility, had to, especially if it was a son, they had to send their sons to become a scholar or an official, both of which were very high class, stereotypically high class jobs, and it's one of those things that they just did. And for example, if you've heard of the Korean Cinderella story, no, well, it's not quite that. It's more of the Korean Romeo and Juliet Cinderella thing. It's not really any particular spin-off, but it is a very traditional classic Korean tale called Chunyang. There's been several movies made. I'm 100% positive there's at least one, the one that I've watched on Netflix, and it's a really good movie. I would suggest watching it, definitely, obviously, with subtitles, but it explains how this noble boy goes off to be a scholar or an official, but he had married this daughter of the Korean equivalent of a geisha. So like in Korean, the equivalent would be kisang. Very similar sounds as well, yes. So the daughter herself wasn't a kisang, but she might as well have been because she was, that's just society at the time. So this nobleman marries this daughter of a kisang, and then he goes off to be a scholar official, and she doesn't know when he's gonna come back. He never contacts her, whatever. She could be left for dead, and he does come back as one of the highest ranking officials. It's actually as like an undercover spy thing to keep the other officials in line. But anyway, he comes back as top dog, and the governor running the town that Chunyang lives in, is basically harassing her, being like, hey, you're gonna be my, you're gonna, you know what I'm talking about. He wants a little something something, and he wants a continuous stream of something something, and he wants her to wait on him and be his plaything / kisang, whatever. And she's like, I'm not a kisang, I'm just a daughter of one. And he's like, I don't give a crap. And so he's giving her hell for it, like literally beating her, until she says yes, which obviously she never does. And it's this little story of like how he does end up coming back and saving her butt, and realistically never would have happened, never, but it's a cute story, and it's a famous story, and anyway, so clearly the author here is male. He's gonna go off to become a scholar official and hunky-dory things. So what I didn't tell him was my ambition. I won't settle for any peasant jobs. I'll be better than that. I'm not gonna stop until I manage to fulfill my father's dream. High magistrate. I won't settle. I will not settle. If Chong-soo expects me to disappoint him, but I damn well will not. If I'm heir to the Kim family, I'm not building him down. He wants prosperity, I'll give it to him. More importantly, I'm never going to let any other Kim son feel like his family doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Never again. I swear on my ancestors. Never again. Alright, we go up, and look, Block 9 has all these new stories. So we're gonna keep reading Kim Young-suk, and then we're gonna read what his wife has to say. So, the new friendship. And she's going to tell us something, so, you know what, let's start off with that. The closet sounds like a really interesting place, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't really know personally, but as I understand it, it was a big place for celebrating festivals, and really surprising to see. We'd leave one of those few tiny, modern, dark white corridors that lead to it. Then suddenly, there was this huge open space filled with all sorts of colorful signs and vendors. I think proper gentlemen were supposed to be more modest, though, so they wouldn't really want to associate with that sort of thing too openly. So, all right, let's read about this this plaza. Well, and from now on, let's read those after we're done with our pages. So let's see here. While it's true that I might be, as my wife suggests, alarmingly serious, it's hard to argue with enjoying a nice meal out if it means cultivating Magistrate Park's trust even more. Just having the invitation alone is a pretty good sign. I assumed we would be going to his house after finishing with the day's affairs, but instead, he looked the other way. Oh, you would not want to visit there. My son has a newborn child who is very, very unconducive to entertaining guests, I'm afraid, he said with a laugh. Surely you'll understand. Instead, we headed to the plaza. Outside of the occasional New Year's festivals, when I was a child, I had never actually been there before. I never had much of an eye for details at the time, so I was surprised to see now just how richly decorated everything was for what was essentially a giant market. Beautiful floral arrangements adorned every stall, wall, and partition, and rather than the commotion of a crowd, all I could hear was the sound of peaceful music. It was still, of course, a market. There were no merchants loudly hawking wares, and some of the prices on the signs I saw would make the emperor blush. In that atmosphere, we ate together at a public house that defied my expectations. The food was both plentiful and far better than anything I ever had in either of my houses. If this sounds indulgent, it absolutely is, and I definitely don't plan on telling anyone the details like this. The only thing I plan to repeat from this evening is what the magistrate confided in me. That was when he was moved from his position. When he was moved from his position, he'd like to recommend me to fill his place. I'd be young for the position, but it would be a great stepping stone to what I'm dreaming of. I remained calm, since I'm good at that, but it's the best news I've heard in my life. Alright. So, that's all of Kim Young-suk, and he's actually got a pretty interesting story so far. Now let's see what his wife has to hear. Alright. Dearest mother, finally I believe Young-suk has grown comfortable with me. All it took was some time for me to earn his trust. Learning how to read by walking over my husband's shoulder isn't how I envisioned spending my first year of marriage. I'm going to get a little quieter, guys, because I think my parents are awake and I need to be quiet. I can't complain about anything that makes me spend so much time with my mother. We talked and decided we were trying for a son right away. Right now, he's just not ready for it. That aside, things are good. If this is what marriage life is like, I think I can be happy with this. We're getting along well, and I like it. Perhaps that's not quite what I was led to expect, but it's still good. Domestic bliss indeed. Last week, Young-suk was reading over some papers for a dispute that Magistrate Park was deciding on. You wouldn't understand the detail, but it was essentially an argument between a farmer and his lord over a sum of money after a particularly poor harvest. I think I once told the magistrate that the farmer is right. His claim is fair, he told me. Might I take a look? I asked. Bemused, he handed papers to me. It took a good while of studying, just to be sure. After all, I wouldn't want to contradict my husband if he was right. But farmer's numbers didn't seem to add up. I pointed this out to him. He not only listened patiently, but had me explain. Then you believe the farmer is trying to cheat his lord? He asked. I did. That's what I will report then. I crazy that the math thing wasn't really considered very odd at the time. That's women's work. It's just natural. Maybe it's a little weird that she's helping with external matters, but well, it's not that weird. The part about learning to read isn't that amazing either. It might have been officially frowned upon, but learning to read by looking over a brother or husband's shoulder was really, really common. Just making a big deal out of nothing. Well, I guess that's 15-year-old women for you. So yes, Young's ex-wife is 15 years old, and she's 15 telling her mother, look at all the cool things I learned. It's actually kind of cute, but... Alright, so let's see what she has to say about the new magistrate. Dearest mother, if you haven't already heard the good news, my husband has been appointed by the emperor to the position of magistrate. He's taken over the office from magistrate part starting today, which is just tremendous for a man to be saying. I have no doubt that he was perfectly humble when he got the news, since he would certainly have been while talking about it in front of father-in-law. In private, though, it's another story. Earlier, the family held a small feast to celebrate the news. He had that same attitude then, too. But afterwards, when everyone else had gone and left or gone to bed, we stayed up to sit together drinking wine, a whole lot more somber. He wasn't modest, but he wasn't boastful either. He was just outright insecure. He might not say it in front of you, but you know what? He even said to me, for like 4 minutes. He takes all the credit for my promotion. According to him, it's all because of the Emperor's perfect new bride, which is, of course, all because of him. I said quietly, I don't want to take the credit for her. I wasn't the one who got her to shut up. That was all him. I don't like discussing it. And please, Mother, don't ever ask me. It doesn't matter, he said. That's not why I got promoted. I got promoted because of magistrate, already now high magistrate part, and I managed to make Smith look so bad he had to get shuffled off. It's exposing the whoring and thuggery that did it, not the damned pale bride, he said with annoyance. Now clearly, Smith, the other family that we were reading before in the last episode, marries a woman named Pale Bride, which is definitely, I don't remember the details, but it's definitely a big part. Pale Bride is like a title, no name, just Pale Bride. So, fun things to come with that, now that we've finally been introduced to that concept. Well, that's how he is. You know, he'll never give you credit for anything, I said. He replied, I know. I just wish he'd acknowledge it. I just don't know how he can be so stupid as to not be proud of it, you know? I know, I said, but let's not focus on that right now. I think we should focus on the good right now. How about we toast to your success instead? Here's to the new magistrate king. I raised my glass and drank. He betrayed the faintest of smiles, but he didn't share my toast and instead put down his glass. That right there is pretty rude in Korean societies. From what I can gather, I don't drink, so I wouldn't quite know. But when you're drinking socially, if you share a toast, then you have to at least take a sip. You can't just automatically put down the glass, because then it's like the rudest thing you can do. It's like mega rude. Top dog of rude. Highest tier of rudeness. Anyway, for a moment I was worried, but then he used that hand to grab my chin instead, and for the first time ever, kissed me on the mouth. Far sweeter than anything, he said to me. I wasn't sure if he meant the kiss or the success, but either way, I agreed either way. Semantics. Anyway, so, Hyun-ae. Well, as you'll see soon enough, it all seems to come back to the Pale Bride. I don't think Kim Jong-soo ever thought very much of his adopted son, or at least neither he nor his wife thought so. You want to know what I think, though? Yes, I do. I think they're both really dumb. I mean, it's not like she ever did anything. It's not her fault. So Hyun-ae is very much siding with the Pale Bride. guess we should side with the pale bride a lot if we want to get on her good graces. She seems to be very set in her opinions. She just happened to be there and was married as a political gesture. What kind of person projects their insecurities onto someone who only ever just got pushed around? Sorry, I guess I'm getting a little bit off track here. It's not really helpful. I guess we'll say it is. Well, anyway, getting back on track here. It's nice to make her feel better. But let me just be right back. Hang on. Alright, so I'm back. Block 6 has one thing. I guess we'll read that because it's about Smith. So let's go. Mute. The author is Mute. Or Mute, or whatever. Or no, the AI? Yeah, the AI in charge of this document is Mute. Mute. If you use it in the Korean accent, Mute. Smith Kyung-san, I don't know why you insist on putting this all in writing when you can just have a perfectly good conversation. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to do it, whatever you want, you're the man. I just think it's a little weird. I don't really get it. Anyway, as to your question, you're spot on about the pale bride being the focus of attention in the royal family. Not for the reasons you wanted, though. I don't know where you heard those rumors, but they're so not true. That girl, a troublemaker? No way. I don't see it. Like, it's not even convincing as a rumor. That girl is the most polite, most obedient person I've ever seen in my entire life. The idea of her fighting with her husband is completely unimaginable. In over a month, I've never so much as heard her raise her voice in a disagreement. She's quiet, courteous, and does everything she's told without even the slightest hesitation. I'm sorry, but there's just no way you could possibly exploit any drama here. This is as undramatic a situation as it gets, especially not compared to what the situation with your cousin and that courtesan. Don't get me wrong, she bugs the hell out of me. The girl, aka the pale bride, is just too perfect. She's young, she's beautiful, she's demure to the point where I don't even think she has a personality of her own, but she also gets along perfectly with the queen. Of course, she commands all the attention of the emperor. Like, can you believe it? So, basically, the emperor is just infatuated with her, and you can't blame him for it because she's beautiful, young, and demure. But that's partly why. Like, she gets along with the queen, has the attention of the emperor, basically controls him. He's her puppet. Alright. Anyway, I'm sorry, but there's no way he's ever going to be anything but extremely grateful to the Kim family for giving her over. So let's see what Hyun-ae has to say. Or AI Hyun-ae. Oh, written by Mute? Oh, whoops, I'm sorry, I don't really know how I got that in there. Yeah, don't pay any attention to that. Sorry, none of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. Really, I'm not normally this much of a klutz, I swear. Interesting. So she's doing a little censoring on us. Yeah, like it's completely not there anymore. See? Block 6 and go. Let's see. Yeah, I think we have time to finish this off, and then we'll end the episode with any last polish-ups. And then we'll go into the next episode. So, marital admonitions. Part 7, not even part 1. Liu Jie-hwa. To the one who will marry my husband, please. Oh, yeah, but please do not think that all of this is meant to say you will be unloved. You may be a second wife, but you are still the daughter of a noble house, and that is a precious gift to the Du family. I'm saying Du My husband has faith that you will bring him a son, and this means all the world to me. Normally jealous, for you will receive a heavy burden on our house, and for that I'm grateful. Now, just letting you guys know, the backstory here is that, first off, even if she were jealous, she can't see that she's jealous, because the minute she says she's jealous, he can divorce her, or all manner of nonsense. So, she's not allowed to be. The first wife can't be jealous. Secondly, as a second wife, very polygamous kind of relationships in Korea back in the day. Partly why I don't really think polygamy is all that weird. She's gonna receive a heavy burden because everyone's basically gonna be like, you need to provide a son or else your purpose is useless here. And a whole bunch of other, heavy-duty psychological crap on her. So she's like, you know what? You're taking heat off me. You're taking a lot of the heat. You're providing a son. I actually am truly, not even sarcastically, grateful to you. But also a little jealous, but I'm just not allowed to say it. It's probably what's going on there. As proof of his affection for me, let me share with you one secret which I have been permitted to tell only you. In honor of you, my husband, in his capacity as captain and emperor, has permanently changed. Okay, so Ryu Jaehwa is the wife of the emperor. Has permanently changed his admin password to your birth name. Ooh. So the woman who marries the husband is the admin password. My new sister, you will be brought into the new family not as a mere limited woman, but as a symbol of power in your chambers. I'm guessing this is the pale bride. You will not only represent the continuation of the Ryu bloodline by providing a son, but your very name will represent the power of the captain's computer. Understand this, pale bride. Yup, nailed it. Your duty may be great, but you will be loved. And so she's like, notice me, talk to me. So okay, well, we'll talk to you. Hey. Ooh. That's some really awkward squeakiness going on in the audio. What the hell? Okay, that wasn't my chair for once. Freaked me out. I was like getting chills. So Hyun-ae goes, I just wanted to say thanks for paying attention to me. It's like I was saying earlier, I just haven't had anyone to talk to in so long. The last time there was anyone around on this ship was the year 322. By my count, it's now 944. Do you have any idea how long that is? Yeah, that's exactly 622 years. At least I think I can. It wasn't really so bad at first. It was nice. Oh, my bad. It was nice not to have to worry about anyone telling me what to do. I could just occupy myself, go through the old logs. But, well, I read quickly. After the first few years, it really started to sink in, the loneliness. Eventually, you sort of just get used to it. It feels awful. You never like it, but you get used to it. In ways that sort of scare you. There was a whole 100 years that went by where I didn't have a single thought, not a one. I just sat there idle. Didn't even notice. Just, I'd been feeling particularly, what's the word? Sleepy, I want to say? But that's not right. I guess maybe that doesn't translate. Anyway, the point is, I was in a lazy mood and I decided to call my clock subroutine, and it turned out it had been 3 trillion milliseconds since the last time I'd called it. Scary. Geez, I'm rambling. Sorry, as you can understand, my perception of time is all off. Sorry, I'll shut up. But my point is, I'm really happy to have someone out there. And now we'll see what her commentary about marital admonitions is. last person to hold the titles Captain and Emperor on the ship was Ryu in Okay. Which of the captain's wives do you wish to know more about? Taehwa or the Pale Bride? I mean, I personally really think Taehwa is an interesting character, but I don't know. I'm guessing you guys are going to want to know more about the Pale Bride, so let's go with that. Very well, she wrote a lot, so this is going to be tricky to filter. I guess I'll just start at the top and I'll let you figure out what's important. And we can go back, pester her again, and then say, oh, but we also want to know about Jaeha. Very well, I don't have much on her that I think you would find relevant. Let's see. Here, how about this? Alright, so Taehwa, there's another one for confidence, and yeah, I guess we should end the episode either right after this one. Let me check here. Okay, so block 5 is new. This is all about the Pale Bride, I'm guessing. Yeah, so let's finish off with confidence. When my husband asked what I thought of the idea of him taking a new wife, I presented him with the weakest of smiles. See, she's jealous. But said that I thought it was a good idea if he thought so. Oh man, hiccups and whatnot, nonsense. That I would be happy if a younger woman were to relieve me of the pressure of being a son. I have no doubt that this was the answer he wanted me to give, with a convincing enough expression to go along with it. If there is one thing I'm confident in, it is my ability to read exactly what my husband wants to hear. Having heard that the girl he is considering will be 13 years of age, however, it is certain that I can have no confidence in him with her. He'll take her in a few years, right when she's reached marriage age. She will be at the peak of her beauty and won't have matured too much. Doubtlessly, unlike me, she will have no problem delivering the son he needs. Perhaps jealousy is unbecoming of me. She admits it. She at least acknowledges it. That makes me feel better. At least she can admit it. But it is pragmatic, too. When we were young, his affections for me were so strong. But now that we're both old, how could I possibly compete with a young bride? Let's see what she has to say. Well, that fear turned out to be completely unfounded. You'll see why soon enough if you read more about the Pale Bride. Alright. So, we will read next time in Block 5 about why, like what the deal with the Pale Bride is, and just in general, what's going on, like why does, what's her face? Taehwa, why her beliefs that, why her jealousy was unfounded. So, alright, let's go. I think, let me see here. Go back to home.